Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to switch over shortly. Just setting up here a little bit. Bruno, Bitrip, Vikram, good morning, guys. We have Uncle John and George here with us already. So I'm just going to pull you guys over to the live on air. There you go. All right, then let's switch. There we go.
Push to talk.
Thank you so
Everybody,
much.
good morning.
Right.
Good morning, everybody. Well, it was when I woke up.
It's still a good morning. It's still a good morning, guys. We're not flying real time. I've actually just set the explain time to very, very early morning. It's just before dawn. The idea is to have a spectacular takeoff once we get there. We might take a little bit longer to actually get going today because I want to give you guys some education. This airport elevation is almost at 11,000 feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the proper procedure for doing a proper takeoff, and we obviously got some training ourselves. I had the pleasure of having Jorge, who is a real world 70 pilot that actually assisted me during the week. So I'm going to do my best to transfer that knowledge to you guys, and Uncle John is going to fly the same time, same route with me. If any of you guys want to join us and fire up your simulators, you are welcome. I'm not going to fly it on VATSIM unless you ask me. If you want to fly physically with me, but follow and ask your questions, and I hope the mission will be successful today. Good morning, aviation. Chris, Vikram, I'm from South Africa. I'm currently in Johannesburg, South Africa. I was born here, raised here. My ancestors are from Belgium, so that's my background. But I am just getting all my stories in order here, and then we're going to switch over. Right, this is my old flight. I'm quickly going to build the new flight in here, and you guys can then follow along and see what we're on about. That's the one. Vikram, I'm beyond that stage of wanting to fly for an airline. I used to work for an airline called Mango Airlines. You can find them on Google. I used to provide various services to them, but that contract has also ended. So, good morning, Jacob. Yeah, but it must be kind of late there where you are, or early, whichever way you want to look at that. Right, so we are going to take runway 10, and this will be the departure today. It's an RNAV. Oh, goodness, 1 a.m. RNAV departure. Well, after last night's stream, when I had the guys online here with me, we ended up chatting until midnight my time. So I slept like a log after that. I hope you're going to have a good rest, Jacob. But thank you for joining. Have a look at the video later because I'm going to dispense some invaluable information, and then we can discuss it as well. Right, so this is the RNAV departure. Let's get rid of this one. I don't want this one in there anymore. In fact, you know what? Let's just kill. I think that's going to be the same. Maybe, maybe not. Let's just kill it. We can start over. Right, so we're going to show this chart. Okay, we don't have a moving map, but at least you'll get the idea of what's going to happen. That kind of doesn't look right according to that chart. Okay, I think what we're gonna do is somewhere there, Zulu Oscar 600, we're going to actually turn to the bottom. We're not gonna turn up, definitely not. That's why it looks funny to me. So we'll have to adapt that a little bit. What arrival are we going to take? Oh, 1 Bravo. No, we want 1 Alpha today. So we're gonna take 1 Alpha. Yeah, that's better. And then runway 10, we'll take the ILS, why not? We can keep that. Perfect. Right, so 2 small changes. Okay. So let's start talking from the beginning. Give you guys good background. First of all, our landing elevation, the actual airport elevation is 10,860 feet. So that's going to require a very special kind of a takeoff. The high altitude takeoff requires the APU to be on, and your pressurization system needs to be in a special configuration so that your poor passengers don't suffocate and that you also still have enough engine power to actually do the takeoff safely and properly. And this is the first thing that I will show you. And then the other trick in this flight is if we get to the ILS, we actually have a mandatory hold kind of a thing. Mandatory is probably a very harsh word to use. You might skip it if there's ATC or not, but we're going to use that. And what's going to happen is we're going to enter at 14,000. Then we're going to descend to 10,270 to actually intercept the final approach fix so that we can get onto the ILS. So from 14 to 10 to 70, we need to descend in the hold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use altitude intervention so that we stay on VNAV and then we actually descend via the calculated VNAV path so that we get there. Yes, Jacob, passengers not suffocating is a very good thing, especially when you are paid to fly them around, right? Let me just read your other message there quickly. You are welcome. Thank you for watching that Ian approach thing. It was marvelous. A lot of guys have come back to me and said, wow, that's awesome. Hey, Uncle John.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, doing Ian is wonderful. Hey, Ian approach is just
I
marvelous.
love
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, it's changed a lot of our way.
Changed my flying.
Yeah. George, have you done some?
No, I haven't done any as yet. I've just been practicing.
Okay. Cool. So I just want to quickly get the rest of the story going.
Just a question. You're saying that you are descending in the hole.
Yes.
Isn't that sort of like a bit of a situation because the hold is supposed to, if there was more than one aircraft in the hold, you got to be careful. You're not.
Well, you obviously look in the real world. You're going to have ATC on VATSIM or IVAO or whatever other network you're flying. There should be ATC. That's obviously going to do the separation. The problem is very simple, and let me bring the chart back up. The problem that we are facing here is look where the hold is, and you have to enter at 14,000, right? And then you need to descend to intercept the ILS. There's not enough space to not descend. There's no ways from Gemmam, that intersection, to the FAF. There is just not enough room to actually drop literally 14,000 feet. 4,000 feet. You understand? So you don't have a choice. You're going to have to find a way. Either you need to descend and disregard the altitude restrictions, and go and intercept the FAF and pretend this doesn't exist, or you're going to have to use the hole to actually descend. So that's the options.
The other thing is that maybe your FMC won't allow you to disobey the restriction.
It won't. You've got to actually reprogram that to allow it. You understand? This is why you use altitude intervention, because if you don't reprogram it, the only way that you're going to bust it is using altitude intervention, because that will ignore the restrictions. All right, so we're going to reprogram it, and we're going to use altitude intervention to use VNAV. So hang tight, you'll see. You'll see. Right, I just need to get all my goodies on the screen for myself. So my payload is 16.9. One of the things I did while trying to calculate my V-speeds and to do everything safely was I ran into major problems. TopCat does not calculate anything above 10,000 feet. So when I landed here, I had no landing data. When I want to take off here, TopCat simply is incapable of working that out. So I had to get other tools and read up a bit, and eventually I found one of my old Toper installations is still working, and I actually used that to work out my takeoff calculations. And one of the problems that we have is the runway is too short. If you are 64,000 kilograms, that's 64 tons or more, you can't take off from this runway. So I had to bring down my actual weights and fiddle with fuel and things, to properly calculate everything. Otherwise, you just simply cannot take off from here. Obviously, in the sim, you can bypass it if you don't care for it, but if you really want to work it out properly, the rules are the rules. Alright, so let's start our crew, get the GPU going, and get our fuel truck. You can see the sunrise busy happening.
So you're damned if you don't, and you're damned if you do.
Yeah, and you've got to find the special golden path in the middle somewhere to keep alive.
Just don't forget I'm following you.
Sure. Okay. Well, Uncle John, I'll tell you the moment something fancy happens. You're welcome to start programming your system. Well, follow what I do on screen. Just keep up with me. You know how to do all this. Good morning, Martin. We'll tell you when we get to the interesting parts, and then you definitely have to quickly stop and look and see.
The reason for running the APU is that for pressurization.
Yeah, you need to provide air to the cabin, and that comes from the APU, because we're going to switch off the engine bleeds. This is a zero engine bleed takeoff, because you need to use your full power for takeoff, max power. All right, there's no SEL interference. There's no proper. How can I put it? What's the right way of saying it? You cannot limit the engines with this takeoff, because the air is too thin and the runway is too short.
This definitely has to be a captain's
Yes.
approach to takeoff.
Yeah. George. Oh, the alarm sound. Sorry, I can't hear it because my volume on my PC is too soft. That is the cabin altitude. Let me show you quickly. Because we are above 10,000 feet already, by default, the cabin altitude is required to give you an alarm sound. So all you do is you just kill it over there. Thank you for asking, Bitrip. Sorry, my volume is very low here on my system. I didn't hear it. Thank you for asking. All right, I've set my volume higher. So all you do is you have to cancel it. That brings me to another thing, George and Pitrip. Legally, you are required, both flight crew members, during the approach and the takeoff, you need to be on oxygen. While you are doing your pre-flight in the cockpit, you have to be on oxygen. That's legal requirements at this altitude. How's that, George?
No, yeah, you're above 10,000 feet, so
Yeah.
Not a little experience to learn.
Yeah. I'm going to have to update my checklist, guys. I'll do it in the week. And so by next week, Saturday, hopefully everything should be in order. And then I will include the actual landing procedure and the takeoff procedure. Because in my previous video from last week, I was also still dumb and in the dark. And that's one of the reasons Jorge came to help me in the week. You actually need to do the same procedure, but in the reverse when you come in and land. You have to have your APU running, get the bleeds done and all these things. And I just came in here like a normal flight simmer because that's what I am. And it worked. Nobody died, but the proper way of doing it would be to use the same procedure, to get the oxygen from the APU and to actually have the engine bleeds off. So you'll see what I mean later on. Zibo was telling me it was a week or two ago already. He says that the flight name, the actual route name, is not important, and he had a whole story about that. So, in case you guys were wondering, you can call the flight name. I'm just passing the message on. You can call the flight name whatever you want, as long as it corresponds to the file you want to import. The flight name, this naming convention is up to you. But the contents is what is important, so you must mess around with the contents. Zibo used the example with me. He called his flight plan my flight, and he typed in my flight. It works. So just as a matter of interest, bit of fun facts there. Alright, activate. Let's get our Adobe on screen there. And that's game map. No, that's game map. Alright. This time I remembered early enough to take the Adobe off screen. You'll see now, George.
Yeah, much better.
Right, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. This is an RNAV departure, so it's really tight in between the mountains. The aircraft really needs to follow this line precisely, otherwise you die.
Nico, quickie.
Yeah.
I've just inputted that. My flight level is coming up as 26.7, not 30. I can't go above 26.7.
Okay, go to 26 and then we'll see in the air what happens. I'm almost there and then I'll see what mine says. Okay, give me a minute or so, we'll get there. Alright, so there's the hold. That's part of our flight plan. Now, George, if you look here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Good morning, Joe. If you look there, you've got a lot of altitude restrictions. You see there, we have to be at 14 there, then we're going to go in. So, to get into that intersection, we have a below 18,000 and above 14,000 limit. So what we're going to do, going to step quickly, need to be at 14,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to just turn that one a little bit around. We're just going to make it 14. In actual fact, I'm going to make it 13.5. No, that won't be, because we can't do that. We're going to keep it at 14 because that is the limit. Sorry.
Couldn't you make it 14.5?
I can probably do it, but we'll use the basics. Let's just stick to 14. Alright, so we need to be below, and then we need to be at 14. The previous one is the hard restriction, and the next one is now like just a soft restriction for us. And then from there on, we're going to descend to 10 to 70. Alright. Just a cheap trick to get past that limit. Right, then it should be fine. Right, the sun is coming up nicely. Right, so 5.3, let me just make sure, yeah, that's correct. So 0 fuel. Okay, mine says 26.5. Let's check the cruise. Alright, the optimum, Uncle John, optimum is 26.5, but the max is 389. Alright, so we can actually go back. So I'm going to use 300 as per my flight plan. Did you see what I did there, Uncle John?
I'm trying. You did it that bloody fast.
Alright, okay. Alright, so what you do when you get to that 26.5, that's the optimal flight level. Okay, so what you do is you click on cruise. When you go to cruise, it tells you 26.5 is optimal, but max is 389. So the aircraft's not going to prevent you to go into any level, onto any level in between those values. You understand? So we filed, or I filed for 300, and all I do then is go back to route, and I use 300. You see, it's not complaining. It's perfectly legal and doable. And the way you do that is you click on cruise, you go read what's allowed, and you just use your flight level in between. If that was 26.5 on the max side as well, you were screwed. You were limited to 26.5. So we're not. So we're just going to use 300. 1.7 on the plan. And 13 on the deviation. Right, our transition altitude, as far as I know, is 18,000. I just want to quickly double check. It's scary when you think you're already at almost 11,000 just where you're standing on the ground. And these mountains are so high. Yep, it's 18,000, so we can leave that. Our reserves 1.7, and cost index will be 20. Alright, so this is where the fun now comes in. We're not going to change anything here. We definitely need as much power as we need. So what you can do, your rule of thumb says your SEL temperature starts at 30. You can use that, but because it's a dashed line, it's not a requirement, and definitely 99.9 sounds like a good idea at this altitude and this runway length. So we're going to go to flaps 10 today, very important. And as you can see, there's no V speeds, so I calculated that off screen. I've got let me show you, my old copy of Toper was still working, so there you go. So that's where I get my calculations from. Topcat, like I said, totally incapable of calculating this for us. I'm not going to bet my life on these values, but at least we're going to have some other indications. So we're going to just use that, trust it for a short while. So we've got 136, we've got 139, and 145. All right. Let's get the people on board. Kept that cleaning going on a little bit long. Oops. Closed all the doors. It's above 10,000 feet, and it's a special departure, completely special departure. There's a whole different procedure, Joe, that you're going to learn this morning for doing this departure. TopCat is limited in the programming. It can't do any calculations above 10,000 feet for your landing or takeoffs. And I was fortunate enough to just have Doper still lying around to be able to get some indication. When I did the last stream, I actually thumbsucked it. I just, used some experience to thumbsuck it. Typically, like we've already said, George mentioned it, this is a captain's only operation, and there aren't many guys really authorized to come and fly at this altitude. You need a special bit of training and qualification to actually fly here. So there's that as well. Right, so let's welcome them.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, welcome aboard our flight today. We're wrapping up the final paperwork here to get you on your way momentarily. I want to thank you so much for your company and business.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Again, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Jorge. So, next, let's get our seatbelts on.
I've clearly done something wrong, and I've never had this problem before. I've got no V speeds at all. Can I get them?
Uncle John, you won't get them because of the altitude. Can I give you my V speeds quickly?
Yes, please.
V1, 136.
Roger.
VR, 139.
Roger.
And V2 is 145. Martin,
Bless you.
it's a pleasure. Martin, the PA system in the tablet gives you all the different announcements and things. If you go to your PA settings, this is set number 1. Jorge is the developer. He actually made this with AudioBird, and he's also a very good friend of mine in the real world. So I prefer to use number 1, and then I've always got my buddy in cockpit with me, and that's where it comes from. So by pressing the button, I get the announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, welcome aboard our flight today. We're wrapping up the final paperwork here to get you on your way momentarily. I want to thank you so much for your company and business. We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Again, welcome aboard.
Alright, so that's where that comes from. Alright, so we have got the APU on the bus, we've got the seats on. Let's get our window heat going. Hydraulics can come on. Let's see, we've got some action on our trim. This trim is totally out of whack. I don't trust that calculation at all, so I'm just going to leave it somewhere in the middle there. Then we set V speeds 145 for V2. Just getting the runway heading quickly. 101. And I'm gonna climb to 300. Excellent, Ryan, and welcome to the stream and happy birthday. Alright, LNAV, VNAV is now. Ah, excellent, Martin. Yeah, that's number one. Right, Uncle John,
I'm listening.
tell me when you are in this position where you have basically fully configured your aircraft and your APU is running.
APU is running. I just need confirmation on the fans settings, etc.
Alright, okay, we're going to discuss that now. I'm just going to quickly do my planning on my pushback. Oh, let's be fancy today, why not?
Ground to cockpit. Command knowledge. Coming to your menu when you are ready.
Alright, so what I'm going to do is send away my trusted helpers over here. Let them go. I accidentally clicked the taxi lights earlier and then all the doors closed. So we don't have to worry about that. Right, okay, so normal standard procedure would be you go and you basically enable your APU bleed, your engine bleeds remain on, isolation valve goes open and your PAX goes to auto, right? Joe says morning, Uncle John.
Yeah, Joe, apologies, I'm on full screen so I can watch Nico. I've lost my glasses, that's my excuse.
Okay, alright, that's why I thought I'd relay it. Alright, so what we're doing basically is we're quickly setting up the aircraft, we're pressurizing it, and we're getting everybody happy. So let me just finish the overhead. Damn, this thing is fast.
Nico, didn't you set your pre-plan for your pushback to head to runway?
I think I did actually. I made it the wrong way. I'll change it now. I was thinking about it. I would have checked it just now. Alright, yeah, I think it's the wrong way. That's what happened when you try and be too fancy, right? Okay, so what's going to happen at this point in time is I'm going to leave it standard, Uncle John. So it's a standard pressurization situation. We are going to keep the APU running after the engines are running and the generators are on the bus. We're not going to switch off the APU. We will then taxi to the runway where we will then configure for takeoff. You got that?
Okay.
Alright. So what I'm going to do now is fix my mistake. So let's go fix that. Martin, it will be difficult for anybody to breathe there, promise.
Coming to your menu when you are ready.
Let's request you, why not?
Ground to cockpit. Tower is driving up.
Right. So all of these guys are ready. Pressurization is normal. Okay.
Just bear in mind I'm trying to follow you.
Yeah, no worries. When we get to the runway. Just do everything normal until we get to the holding point for the runway, right? And then we're going to stop. We're going to take our time and we're going to configure the takeoff.
All doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Are you on pushback already?
Yes.
Right, I better get pushback.
Hey, Paul, good morning. Yes, Paul. John is here for you now.
And bypass being inserted. Release parking brake.
Yeah, he's a bit late though. I wanted him last night. I'll never forgive him. I'll never forgive him.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Paul, we had fun last night, man. We had fun. I landed in Turkey at Sirte, and it's like a circling and flown visual approach. Man, that was a story. And Uncle John wanted you to be there to jinx me. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to switch packs off. Isolation valve goes to on. Right, the actual pressure is rising, and then we can start our engines. Now what you'll see is the engines don't actually go to 25 on the N2, so we'll start at 2324.
So you never get high, you don't get up to 25%.
No, it stops just before that. The pressure difference there, I think, is key. It's cold today, so it might actually have gone over. We can just check with this second engine, but previously when I flew here, it just never went there. Let's leave this one, George, and then we'll just see what it does this morning. It's, I think, 11 degrees Celsius here, so it's kind of cold. Maybe it goes. Paul, you're a legend. That's the lesson from the story, you know. And Uncle John really wanted you there.
Operation complete.
I'm never going to forgive him.
Oh, shame. See, George, look there, it stops. It just doesn't go to 25. Alright. So let me get my parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Yeah, I can see.
Alright. So there the generators go on the bus. Now what's very important is that APU must not be switched off. Right, so we're going to put the packs back online so they don't suffocate again. One, two, three. Waiting for the green light.
And bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Go. That's all done. Trims right.
I'm afraid I'm a little bit behind you, Nick. I'm only just starting.
Don't
number
worry.
one.
Ah, look what I do. That's not what you need to do. You click on the taxi lights, man. Get so annoyed with myself. Sorry, guys.
See, your fuel temperature is quite, it's only about 4 or 5 degrees.
Everything is different at this altitude, though, George. It's crazy. Alright, so taxi lights on. These guys are happiness. Uncle John, tell me when you're ready to taxi. I'll hang around here quickly.
Okay, let me just get into the same position you are at the moment.
Okay. I love the sunrise. George, if you look at the actual authors, look how big this city is. I mean, imagine all these people staying at this altitude. Now, if you actually start panning around here, look at this. I mean, it's crazy. If you start panning around, look in the mountains, there are actually little towns even higher up. Look at those lights. I was looking around here the other day. Look, there's more guys, even higher. I mean, these guys are literally living probably at close to 12,000 feet. I don't know how they do it, eh? Must be a special kind of person, eh?
Yeah, it's like the Gurkhas in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Or the Sherpas, I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So did
Okay.
you do authors for this?
I did, yeah. Let me just start this silly APU again. Can't believe I actually just missed it there with a mouse. Flaps 5, green light, Paul. Flaps 5, green light.
That's 10.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you, guys. I would have realized when we were going through the checklist later on. Baie dankie. Right, flaps 10, green light, green light. Okay, happiness is. Oh, we've got 2 knots of wind, so that's fine.
Right, theoretically, I'm sitting behind you.
Alright, okay. I just want to check that that silly APU comes on again. Don't switch your APU off, Uncle John.
No, it's been on since what, ages ago.
Alright, I was trying to switch my taxi lights on and my mouse slipped and I accidentally hit this silly thing. Okay, so while it's starting, it should be running when we get to the other side.
Taxi down, but I've got this heap of shit in front of me. Excuse me.
Listen. I'm gonna climb out this cockpit just now. I'll use the rope here by the window. And I won't even bother opening a door again. I'll come and put
Apologies for that, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a knife in one of your tires, I'm telling you.
Throw some sparks across the taxi.
Yeah. Put something there that the engines can suck in. Yeah, you're nasty. But thank you very much. I love you too.
You didn't do a configure before you moved.
What configure?
To check to see that everything is fine. You didn't just move the throttles forward.
I did.
Okay, I didn't see it.
You know what? The throttles I didn't move. You're right. And I usually do that in the beginning, just after putting the power on the bus. But we were talking too much. But what I did was I did check the flight controls. That I did check.
Yeah, that I did know.
Yeah. Sorry, John.
It might be prudent just to check that everything is repaired.
I did before the stream started. I'm not sure if that little bug actually propagated into version 6, 37.6, but guys on the stream, we had a small issue with a little bug in .5 where explain failures actually activated and it killed the trim. And I'm not the only one. I've had reports of other guys who experienced the same thing. So if you guys all of a sudden have a failure, don't panic. Just go into Explain 11 and fix it. It's not happened in .6 with me, so I presume the guys picked up on it and they fixed it. But it happened. It was kind of funny last night. All of a sudden, my trim just died. All right. Okay, so let's double check everything. We've got flaps 10. The APU is running and we're going to configure the pressurization and the bleeds just now. So before we do that, let's get our weather. And in actual fact, I want terrain this side. Let's put terrain this side and put the weather on that side. Did it take it? Yes. Right. Then,
Question.
mm,
Now
yeah.
that you've moved the throttles forward, but you've got dual bleed on, and that's
No,
concerns me.
it's gonna pop the APU. That's what we need to fix now. You understand? By doing what I just did now, we ran a serious risk of blowing the APU. So we need to fix that. Bruno, give me a second. I'll run through everything just now with you. The master caution needs to be on at this point in time. We have a dual bleed situation. Let me go to that thing. So when you run the AP, what am I doing? When you run the APU together with, I hope I didn't blow it now. Together with the engine bleeds. Okay, you're going to have a dual bleed situation. So if I actually put too much thrust through, we're gonna blow the APU. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to check. The right back needs to be on auto. The isolation valve now goes to closed. Alright, it must not be on auto or on open, so it goes to closed. The left back is on auto. Then we're going to check the left engine bleed. We're going to switch that off. Right, and the moment we switch that off, you see the dual bleed goes away. And your master caution goes away. That's very important. You can seriously damage the aircraft if you don't do it correctly. Uncle John, I'm going to repeat it for you just now again. Don't worry.
I followed you on that.
Alright, then what we need to do is the APU bleed needs to be on because it needs to give the oxygen to the passengers, otherwise they're going to suffocate. Alright, and then we need to switch this bleed off as well. Alright, so theoretically if we go to the auto, you see the pressurization changes, but we don't want that situation. We want this to be off. So effectively, the APU is providing the oxygen and the pressure for the cabin. We have switched off the bleeds on the engine, so we are keeping all the power literally in the engines to facilitate the takeoff. Alright, so now we've got more power and nobody's gonna die. Right, so you got that, Uncle John? Let's just recap anyway. Let's just recap. It's nice to recap. So what we do is the back's on auto, right back on auto. Isolation valve we close. Left back on auto. Engine bleeds go off and the APU bleed stays on. Right, and that's to keep the guys from dying in the back. And to give us more power to actually take off properly. Are you ready, Uncle John?
I'm ready.
Alright, and that obviously took care of the master caution. Alright, so I'm going to taxi into position and go.
Once I see you rolling, I'll start lining up.
Sure.
I'm worried about the backrush.
0.
Yeah.
So cabin altitude will always stay on because you're above 10,000.
Yes. And you will see as it equalizes later on when we reconfigure the pressurization system, it will automatically switch off.
Oh, good.
Okay, so let's just quickly talk about that. What's going to happen is we're going to take off, we're going to go onto the autopilot. Then once we are in a clean configuration, full flaps up configuration, we are then going to do exactly the opposite. Alright, they call it a C configuration. Because it runs in the form of a C. So we started at the top right and we ended, we went into that position and we ended here at the bottom. So it looks like a C. If you put your fingers like that, you'll see it's a C. So what we're going to do is we're going to run it the opposite direction. We're going to run clockwise then. So we're going to start. The first thing that goes on is that engine bleed. Then APU goes off to prevent the dual bleed. Then that one comes on. Then we check for auto. Then we go for auto on the isolation valve and we check for auto again on the next back, and that should fix the whole scenario for us. After that is done, we can then switch off the APU.
On runway 10. On runway 10.
Right, John, I'm going.
Roll out.
Don't touch.
knots.
Rolling.
E1. Rotate. Positive brake.
Gear up. Command A, gear up and off, and RTO off. Right, so now we're trusting our trusted RNAV here, and we will then
1000.
change our flaps as required. Man, this is a beautiful takeoff. Hey, look at the mountains and everything. Ah, this must be spectacular in real world.
I was just thinking, wonder what the wind is like down that.
Well, at this point in time, there is no wind, but I think when it gets hot and you get some weather here, it must be crazy. I imagine they won't use the airport if it gets too crazy. Wrong, idiot.
Can't believe how heavy we were there.
It's nice, eh, John? Nice
That
to
was
have.
great. I enjoyed that.
Right, so now we're getting to the flaps up, the clean configuration, and once this is settled and stable, we're going to then change our pressurization system back to normal.
I'm going to say my flaps are up.
Yeah, okay, so give me a second. We shall then look at our setup. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to switch on engine bleed number 2. Then you're going to switch off APU. Alright, you're going to switch on engine bleed number 1. Check your back on the left, your left back for auto. That's fine. Then you go to auto on the isolation valve and check auto on the right back, and that's it. As easy as that. At this point in time, you can then switch off your APU. You got that? So we did the C form,
Got all that?
and then we did the opposite.
Your air trim is not switched.
My what?
Air trim.
Thank you, George.
Can't believe how close we are to them mountains.
It's lovely. It's really
At
lovely.
15,000.
Oh, this is crazy.
It looks so fantastic with that sunrise.
Yeah.
I'm already in and out of cloud.
Yeah, same here.
So when will the cabin altitude go off?
When it's equalized, whenever that is, it's all automated, so I don't have control over it. I presume you can go to manual and force it, okay, but it's okay, nobody's gonna die.
No, that's fine. But you still stay on oxygen at this point in time.
I presume the cabin crew will, yes, the pilots will, until it's all sorted. We can, actually there is moisture, there is visible moisture, and we are below 10, we're actually at 0 already, so just to be safe we can definitely look at that. Let's put on our engine heat there, get the, just make sure we don't fall out of the sky.
Switch off your taxi lights.
Thank you. See, I'm talking too much. It's difficult to do all the training and concentrate on the full checklist at the same time. I think the most important thing to concentrate on was the pressurization system. Another
Next, go. Don't worry about it.
yeah, the other thing we all laughed about is because we above 10,000, it's like muscle memory, or it's a short in the brain or something. You don't think of using the landing lights and the turn-off lights, but actually you're supposed to, because you're doing a takeoff or a landing if you come in here. And I mean, you saw the eye clean, didn't even think of it. Thanks, Bruno.
Yeah, but A, you're not in the sterile cockpit. B,
Yeah.
there's only one of you.
Yeah. The checklist is here, but I mean, I'm concentrating so much on the content that, you know, the checklist is second thought.
Procedures.
Yeah.
Next to the team on board today, we are all happy to offer you any assistance you may require throughout the flight. Our in-flight entertainment has begun.
Joe, yes, the legal requirement is when you are in the cockpit, on the ground, busy with your pre-flight, you have to have oxygen in the cockpit. You have to use it. So your masks go on when you do the pre-flight. You have to take off and land at this altitude with oxygen. You cannot not have your mask on. That is why when we did the previous stream, I spoke like this, because we pretended to have the masks on, you see.
Just a quick in, Nick.
Yeah.
Do we carry on keeping the APU running?
No. Once you've reconfigured your pressurization system, you can take it off. You switch it off.
Thank you.
That cabin altitude light indication will go off at top of climb.
I'm not sure. It all depends on the rate at which it equalizes. You know, look, I mean, that thing is pumping air like crazy at this point in time. I mean, that pressure is quite high. So at some point in time, it's gonna basically realize it's now okay. It doesn't need to give you a warning. Not sure if it will help if we try and trip it. Let's see. Nope. No, it's busy doing its thing, George. Don't let it bother you. I mean, the carrier has got insurance. If the guys at the back don't make it, yeah, we'll compensate the families. As long as we've got our oxygen on in here, I'm okay. I can go home when I'm done. It's just a joke, guys. It's just a joke. Don't take me seriously. Hey, Bob. And there are a lot of clouds around, eh? Hi, Yoki. Good morning.
You are double climb.
There we go. And there, the light's off. I didn't actually notice when it went off. I just noticed, I just realized now.
Now I saw it go off when you, as soon as it reached the top of climb.
Okay. We were talking in the week, this flight will definitely become part of our training curriculum when I train guys to fly the Zibo, because it's a challenge, it's something new, it's a short flight, and it's got spectacular scenery. I mean, it's really a beautiful place to fly.
And then of course the reverse can be used for high altitude landing.
Yes.
In the cruise.
Yeah, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, we've leveled off now at our cruising altitude. We're going to go ahead and turn off the fasten seatbelt sign. I'd like to kindly ask if you are staying in your seats to keep those seatbelts comfortably fastened for your
Those
safety.
clouds are amazing.
Onboard computer charger.
Yeah, look at the rain.
No ATC delays either. We're going to stay quiet up here, have you enjoy the flight and the service. Once again, welcome aboard.
Bruno, just talk to me. You can message me and we'll set up something for you. I usually get 1 or 2 or 3 guys together, and then what we do is we get together on Discord and then we put up a stream. So it will either be on YouTube or on Twitch, and then we literally just run through everything. If you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see there was a training flight I did with Mario that I did very early on in the beginning, early days. I've subsequently learned quite a lot. I just don't feel right taking the video off. There's 1 or 2 or 3 mistakes in it, but that's the typical format where we interactively do it while I'm streaming, and the guys then learn. When it's done on Twitch, the videos never get saved. All right, it goes away after a couple of days. So unless the guys download the video, you'll never see it. And then the other option is obviously we just sit and we chat and we work through the procedures, but we basically do it on Discord. If you look below the video in the description, you'll find the Discord link, so you can join, come talk to me, and we'll organize something that suits you, whether it's on stream or off stream. It's irrelevant, but we need to discuss it, and then we'll see what we can do. Oh yeah, I took it off so you guys could see how I was fiddling with the system, just so it didn't interfere. But there you go, there's your overlay. There, it's back. I have done other training sessions. There is another video that talks about the Zibo basics. If you look at the tutorial playlist, the tutorial there was done from San Diego to Phoenix. That training session lasted 4 hours, and I had 20 guys in training with me for that session. So you're also welcome to watch that video, and then also come back with questions, guys, if you don't want one-on-one or group training. Right, let's quickly look at the descent situation.
Do that slowly for me, please.
Alright, okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go for flaps 30, the ordinary flaps 30 configuration. You got that? You're familiar with this. You just double tap that little button.
Affirmative. 145 I've got.
Okay, yeah, same here. Alright, now because I use TopCat to do the landing calculations for me, I know that my gross weight is going to be a little bit different. Now, in my videos, I never usually bother to change that because it's literally a couple of 100 kilograms that comes off. So I'm not going to bother with that. When we do the next set of training, we can go and discuss that a little bit. But as a matter of interest, my landing weight is calculated to be 61.8. So there's about 500 kilograms we're going to lose between this position and when we actually land. But I'm going to leave it like that. That's just easier not to confuse people. Then the next thing that we need to do is you click on the descent button, Uncle John. You got it?
Affirmative.
Right, then click on forecast.
Affirmative.
Right, then your transition level is important. You get it from the chart. So let me bring the chart on board here quickly and show you. If you look at the chart, all the charts will tell you transition altitude there. It gives you a value. It can be anything. So in this case, it's 14,000 feet. The reason you want to change that is because on your primary flight display, when it reaches that altitude, it needs to turn yellow to remind you you've gone through your transition and you need to go to QNH, right? In which case you'll just press that button again after it's been set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to now type in flight level 140. Come on. Alright. I'm not going to bother with all the winds and everything. That is just over the top for now. Usually what I would do is enter the winds. Let's see. So how far are we from top of descent? 40 nautical miles. Damn, it's going to be close. Uncle John, don't worry about this, but let me try and put this in quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my briefing. Get my flight situation loaded into active sky here quickly.
Do you want me to execute that or not?
You can, yes please. Alright, so let's just get to the briefing here. So we've got 12, 1, 2, 3, 9, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3. We're not even going to get to 6. What am I talking about? That's the incorrect information. Let me just check it. It's going to be 12, 24 and 30. I'm so used to doing it this way. I'm not used to landing at this high altitude. So we're talking 24, 23. We're talking 12, 1, 2, 3. Right, and then there's nothing below that, so I'm not gonna. I mean, the other one was 30, which is where we're at. It's irrelevant. So let's quickly look. We're looking at 190 at 7. And then we're looking at 040 at 2. At 2, and the QNH is going to be, come on, 1024. Right, I'm not going to grab the calculator to work out the ISA deviation. We'll just use that information. Alright, so that takes care of that portion of
Don't
everything.
lose that screen yet.
What? Which screen?
Where you are now.
Okay, hold on, I'm coming
Go
back. There you go.
Yeah, leave it there for a second. Just so. Okay.
Right. Okay, I'm going to anyway leave it there. Then we're going to descend to 10,270. Wow, that was fast. So I'm going to make it 10,200. You can't go to 10,270. It's impossible. You can't set that. So we're going to just put it to 10.2. Okay, there's the slowdown for the top of descent happening already. So we're going to go down to 10,200. We're going to use auto brake 3, Uncle John.
Okay.
Our landing final course heading is 97 degrees. Okay, and the localizer frequency is 10970. Right, so that takes care of the ILS. Then we said that the local QNH is 1024, so we're going to put that on standby. As you can see over there, we've now put it on standby.
On your ILS.
ILS 10970.
Affirmative, same as me.
Bruno, no, you can synchronize a whole bunch of the other stuff via the tablet setting, but not the courses. You need to set the courses manually. Right, so what else do we need? Now we need the minimums. Alright, so if we look at the chart, our descent minimum is 8,530. So, and that's a barometric value, so we need to get to 8,530.
Better than setting up to 13, the 14,000.
At La Paz, yeah. Come on. Right, so that's 8,530. We've got our reference speed and we've got our QNH in standby mode already. So if you set your standby mode there in the QNH in standby mode, once that thing goes yellow because of this descent forecast value that we've entered there for the transition level, once it goes value, all you do is you click the standard button and it goes directly. Then you don't have to fiddle around and find what the QNH is and everything. So it's very good to do it early on, in the descent preparation phase to set that up. Alright, so let's go descent.
Folks from the flight deck, we've started our descent. Should have you in the ground in about 15 minutes. Want to thank you so much for your company and business, and hope to see you again with us sometime very soon.
Bruno, it doesn't work with X camera. I actually use X camera for my views and it does not work. I tried it, but it was a dismal failure. So it ain't working with this one. I have to live, unfortunately, with the fact that it sometimes goes off. And to make matters worse, by the way, I'm using XP Realistic. If you look at the angles that my head is moving and the actual movement in the cockpit, look how it's actually resonating over there. This comes with XP Realistic. So all in all, I'm in for a bit of a treat every time I want to use the scroll button, because everything moves. This is not a static cockpit at all.
I'm running exactly the same.
Yeah, so unfortunately we have to live with that. Alright, so what did we not do? I'm actually putting my speed brakes back to standby now. It's just armed. Everything is just running smoothly. So what should happen is we should get into the hold at 14,000 and VNAV should actually take us down. If it doesn't start the descent in the hold, we'll just use altitude intervention and get ourselves down to the correct level.
Got about 5,000 descent more than me.
That's fine. Right, now the volcano here on the side, as a matter of interest, here on our left wing is a volcano. It's actually an active volcano, and there is an active SIGMET. There has been for the past couple of days, and we are required to then fly around it. There's just no way of flying through it. Some of the approaches, when it's not active, actually takes you quite close to the volcano, but in this instance I just thought, why not just fly around a little bit. In the sim obviously it's also just pretend, but you know what I mean. In the real world they will definitely fly this route rather than go through that cloud dust cloud thing. Man, I'm so glad I made my orthos for this area.
What's the barometer set in, Nico? Can you remember?
1024.
Nicely on the profile.
Yeah. One other thing, guys, I've noticed a few new names here, so I just want to repeat something very basic. In the tablet, under your hardware, we've got an auto throttle engage lock throttle setting. My one is set to on. There's pros and cons to having it on or off. Basically what happens is a lot of guys are still complaining about the VNAV not working, which is rubbish. It's not true. The VNAV in the Zibo is capable of running ANP 0.02, which is extremely accurate. There is nothing wrong with the VNAV. What is definitely influencing the VNAV profile and the VNAV code is the hardware throttles. Now if you enable this setting, the moment you hit toga and you take off and your auto throttle is on, it actually does the following. As a matter of interest, look at the little blue triangles. That is my hardware throttle. I can literally move it any way I want, and that is the VNAV having to slow down. Sorry, it was a terrible example because it had to change the speed there. But once it settles, I'll show you again. I can literally move around. Don't know why it's not doing it now. Crazy. I've shown this so many times on stream. When it's on, okay, let's do it this way. Just toggle it. When it's on, it's supposed to disallow any. Oh, you know why it is allowing it? Damn, it's because it's in the ARM mode. Sorry. I'm gonna wait until we get to the active mode again and then I'll show you. Literally, it doesn't change anything there. So what happens is your hardware does not interfere with the VNAV code. When it's in ARM mode, it obviously allows you to use it. So a couple of things happen. When you have more than one throttle, a hardware throttle, the moment they go out of sync, it will kick out the auto throttle. You're going to lose auto throttle, so then you have to reach over and you've got to set it up, and this will prevent that. It also will prevent any interference in the VNAV code. So consider this. The only drawback is if you enable the throttle, this lock throttle, you will not be able to do a rejected takeoff, because it will not matter what you do with your throttles. The Zibo is just not going to listen to them, so it just mutes them out completely. Thanks, Joe. Right, so once it takes the throttles under its command again, I'll show you guys.
I've clearly done something wrong.
Yes.
I'm not going into the pattern.
What pattern where?
The
The hold.
hold. Yeah.
That's weird.
Clearly I've missed something en route.
Okay. Bruno, yes. Sorry?
I'll have to manually come down to what altitude?
10,200.
Thank you.
Okay. Bruno, the moment you switch that thing on or off, you will either have command of the throttles or you won't. So it's all in your command. You can switch it on or off. If you want to simulate rejected takeoffs, you have to have that setting off. If you don't want, you're not bothered with rejected takeoffs, the best is to have it on. If it's off and you have command of the throttles with your hardware throttles, what needs to happen is before you reach top of descent, you need to put your hardware throttles in idle. If it's not in idle, it's potentially going to interfere with the VNAV code, and then you're not going to have the correct profile. So there we have it. We're under the control again. Look, I can move. Let me zoom in there so you guys can see properly. I can now move my throttles any which way. The Zibo is simply not listening to me. It's under the code control now, under the FMC control. You see, and this is what you want. It's the better option, but then you just need to understand you can't do a rejected takeoff. I'm in the hold, Uncle John. It's just taken me.
Well, I went straight past it.
Alright, so the other thing I just want to quickly look at, if we look at that chart, there's no restriction on the actual speed. Some of the holds sometimes have got speed restrictions. What I'm going to do, we go to the hold there, is I'm going to make it a 2-minute pattern. Alright, so we don't have excessive speed and turning issues. Alright, so now to get this aircraft to actually ignore the limits and the restrictions, what we're going to do is we're going to use altitude intervention. Alright, and now you will see it's basically ignoring the limit that was there. See that altitude restrictions. It's now going to honor the 10,270, but the one for 14,000 that was in the hold is now being ignored. There you can see it's busy calculating our VNAV profile, and when it's ready, like you can see, it obviously starts the descent.
Nico, just getting back to your previous situation, maybe I don't know if you've updated your pictures in my hangar file.
No.
Configuration.
That hasn't changed. I still need to update them again, George, because in those pictures I actually have my setting to off. That for one is definitely off.
Yeah, I'm
you see,
aware of that.
yeah.
But there's also there's 3 pages of the one setting, and I don't think you've got 3 pages on yours in where you've
under display. Yeah, under display variants, there's 4 pages. So if you go through them, you'll see. I think that's maybe what you're looking at or what you're referring to. So I'll update them later today.
Okay, much appreciated.
Sure. Wow, it's a beautiful area.
John, why did you miss the hole?
Pass.
We'll figure it out later. Joe, I agree. Paul, yes, we can switch the heat off now. The anti-ice can go off. There's no visible moisture, no danger of icing. So yes, it's off. Paul's very clever today. Huh? I think we must actually organize next Saturday, Paul. I'd like you to give us a tutorial similar to this one. Okay, then I'd love to be your first officer. Hey Paul, now you're quiet. I'm just kidding with you, buddy, don't worry. I'll help you, man, I'll help you, I promise you. This is so cool. Now we're just sitting here enjoying the flight all around in circles.
I think you'll come after this,
Yeah.
the next loop you're out.
Yeah, we'll be out. Paul, why are you not on Discord? Is there any particular reason that you're not here with us?
Yeah, because he doesn't want any words out of me.
No. He's not afraid of you, Uncle John. He can stand his ground.
He needs to be.
Nah.
He was missing last night.
Yeah, I know, Paul. This is why I'm actually joking with you. Man, I tell you, the level of rookie mistakes while I'm concentrating on one procedure and the other one slips in, it's freaking me out right now, actually. Silly. You see, when you make a video, you can go back and edit it out and patch it and do all these kind of things. But when you're live on air like this, oh boy.
Everything is recorded.
Yeah, and it's real time. I mean, you can't go back and say oops and hide it, you know. Yeah, last night was lovely. It was really good. I like it, Bruno. In the beginning it was daunting. Sometimes I still get like butterflies, you know, but it's getting better. It's much better. I prefer doing things live as well. So anyway, there we are at the 10,270 feet, and it's holding it brilliantly. So what we'll do, once we make the next turn, we're going to exit the hold. We're going to we can click the button already, and then we can actually leave the hold. I'm glad, Bruno. Always good to get good feedback. That exit armed automatically, George. I see when I clicked it, it was already on exit armed and it didn't do anything. If we were not on the correct altitude, it would have then given me the arm and then to execute it. But it seems it's all done. It understands it's finished now. It's completed.
Well, I'm a little bit in front of you, sir.
No worries. If you can get the drinks organized and maybe some hot dogs when you land, it will be
Well, the
fine.
drinks, yes, but I'm not feeding you as well.
Come on, just one hot dog. I'll
No,
take some.
negative. You want food, you bloody well pay for it.
No, I'll pay you. I'll give you money back. I'm good for it.
Yeah, you said that last time.
You're funny. You're funny. Right, so let me just make sure that it actually leaves this hold now.
Oh, I'm into the capture.
Okay.
Nicola, what is the runway heading?
Now you ask me, it's about 101. Let me just check. We're almost on it, so let me just make 100% sure. Yeah, it's 97.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. I'll put it on 97.
It's a lopsided runway as well.
Yeah. There we go. It's turning on course now.
Yeah, look at it, it's disappeared.
Yeah, awesome. Man, Zibo does a great job with this aircraft.
Which brings me to something I wanted to bring up, and that is there is so much added features into this aircraft. I was just wondering about any of these other people making comments.
Yeah, which comments, George?
That it was too advanced, too complicated.
Oh,
too
yeah, those
stressed.
guys. No, they must just get education, that's all. I mean, really, they must just learn.
I mean, if the rest of the world is learning, why can't they learn?
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned. Look, it's not actually going on course. For some reason, it is. It never, after it left the hold, it never continued on LNAV. You see that? LNAV, everything is still on, but it lost it there for a reason unknown to me. That's very interesting. The previous model, .5, I flew this and it didn't do that. Very, very crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure Zibo will pick up your after he's checked your flight.
Yeah. Yeah, everything else is fine. It was just that now. For some reason, it missed to follow the route. Guys, but this is also, George, this is why it's important. When you're piloting command, you have to do what you have to do. We've discussed this many times. It's no use in complaining, oh, I didn't follow the route. It's your responsibility to check these things and make sure that it does. Because even in the real world, automation fails. And if you're not paying attention, you can die.
That's affirmative. No, I agree with you there. You can't rely on auto. That's why I laugh at these people who come up with these AI solutions.
Yeah. That flight we did last night on Twitch, I mean, we discussed it while we were doing the stream. There's no automation. After you leave that VOR, you are 3, 4, 5,000 foot above that airport. You've got to do a circle landing. It's all hands on stick. There's no more automation. And we discussed it last night. There are lots of guys, they will never be able to land there because they just don't have the ability to take this beast and just fly it like a plane, you know. And this is one of the reasons we always also say, please, please, please do some hand-flown circuits, get training, you know, just familiarize yourself with flying this thing without automation, because if that thing dies at the wrong time, you're dead. You're not going to be able to help yourself.
Right, beautiful landing, and I'm going to try and clear this runway for you.
Thank you, thank you. And there's no debris, right? You made sure.
No, Deborah. No. I've got. Okay. You cheeky.
No
What do you
Deborah.
got?
You said no Deborah. I mean, is she blonde? Is it one of your blondes?
Listen, leave the girls out of it.
Hi, Paul. Paul, no. The bleed is not necessary. We're below 10,000. This is just a normal, ordinary landing because we're below 10,000. It's when you get 10,000 and above, then you have to start wondering about things like that.
Oh, nice to have the weight on board there.
Yeah, very nice. Let's get our seatbelt signs on as well. Just pretend that we're paying attention.
I can't see you in the distance.
Yeah. Alright, and here's one of these classic examples. We are on 99. No, we're not. We're on 97, so it wants us on 99. There we go. All sorted. Alright, I'm not going to arm the approach yet because then it's going to try and follow the localizer, so it's going to bug out to the left. I'll wait until we actually get on the localizer, and I'll just keep an eye out on the glide slope that we don't miss that.
Clear of the runway.
Right, and just as a matter of interest, that's the runway over there where the mouse is right now. I was surprised when I flew this route the first time. I didn't realize I was so close to the runway already. So, oh, whoa, there's the airport and the runway already.
Listen, Uncle John, have you got the broom out and have you swept the runway clean?
He said so.
Will you please sling your hook?
That's when he said there's no Deborah on the runway, and I said, oh, one of those blondes again. Your pronunciation of debris was just too good to let go, Uncle John.
Debris.
You know what he's gonna put it to?
Huh?
The lack of glasses. The lack of glasses.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't need glasses for landing. It was a perfect landing. Rest assured.
Well, I've got my little reading glasses on here just to make sure that I don't mess it up.
I'm at the gate anyway now.
Yeah, excellent.
We put the
Tell you what,
kettle
it's
on.
cold up here.
Listen, John, we need a bit of cold up here, over here because, I mean, like, we've been sitting in 30 odd degrees the last...
Yeah.
Do you know, I'm getting a little bit fed up of you this morning.
Why? Because we've
First
got
of
good
all, he
weather.
asks me about the broom, and then he rubs it in about how warm he is.
Well, George, on Thursday, I was driving in the car, it was 37. So, I didn't like that.
Yeah, no, I was also picking up around about between 35 and 60.
Yeah.
Why I bothered to come on here,
No. Uncle John, we love you. Don't let the devil now steal your fun today. Just relax. We're all here to
Bad
enjoy.
enough with Paul.
Paul hasn't even said anything. I think he said hello. Gee whiz. Shame. Yo. Right, we're gonna land.
On the runway trying to escape him.
Oh, that's why she went on the runway. She's trying to get away. Okay, shh. Don't say too much.
Listen, I can
Alright.
show this recording. It was a perfect landing.
Ah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
What was your rate?
No idea. I wouldn't even know how to check it.
In the logbook it should say, but doesn't matter. It really does not matter.
As long as you're on the ground all together in all one.
Well, I didn't need a broom, as you accused me.
No, I was asking you to clean the runway.
Whoa, whoa,
Nothing to clean.
whoa. Let's go around.
I think so, I think so, I
God,
think
I
so.
love it. Paul, I knew you'd arrive in time.
Yep, that's what my job is.
Good lad. We're mates again now. At least I got it down first time.
Check my other streams. I did the same thing. No, I can't. I'm still at VRF. I need to get more speed.
Oh, sorry,
I don't know why, but my foot slipped, and that whole kink that you saw there came from the rudder. So one of those things. Then you have to go around. I'm not gonna go and crash on live stream if I can help it.
You took the fuel for the go around, so use it.
Yeah, of course.
Well, as the CEO of this company, I shall have words with him later.
Pilots allowed one go without any questions asked.
Yeah, yeah. It was Deborah's fault. I saw her on the runway. I had to make a plan. I had to miss her.
Yeah, trying to thumb a lift to get out of the area.
Shame. Oh, she's talk.
Some of these excuses, Paul.
Yep.
Listen.
Nico, it's good you're going around because we can get to see the scenery a bit more.
Yeah, look at that.
Question, Nico.
Yes.
Did you press the go around button there for that go?
No, it's all manual because I already disconnected autopilot and auto throttle. It wouldn't do anything if you press the toga button. I was already, in my mind going to land, and then my foot slipped.
And is that related to the tablet setting you mentioned earlier?
No, that's related to there's no automation enabled. If you switch auto throttle and autopilot off, it's not going to go into a toga mode.
All your aircraft.
Yeah, you have to fly it. Bitrip, flap warning. Where do you see a flap warning? I don't see any flap warning. Looks perfect to me. Let's actually just get this in the proper position.
When you arrive at that runway, did you notice that lean is not evident?
No, didn't pay attention to that. I hope what I perceive to be the runway is the runway now.
Approaching minimums.
Way above it on you.
Runway is in front of me. It's here on the plateau as far as I can remember. We'll see it now.
I thought it was there slightly.
Oh, we skew. We are skew as hell. How's that
Yeah,
possible?
You're not kidding.
You're right, it should have been 99 instead of 75.
Shush, shush.
Paul,
I was following the magenta line, man.
second go around.
No, 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 no. No ways. No ways. We're not scared. We're gonna put this baby down. Get the bath bags ready, but we're landing.
Bank angle. Bank angle. Approaching 10.
It's at the brain from South Africa.
Approaching minimums.
Flight slow.
100. Minimums 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
$130 per minute. How's that? Sweet.
Good shot, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Paul, did you have to add that?
I was looking, Bruno. I was seriously. I was looking at the magenta line. I thought if I could get back on the magenta line, I'm okay. But
Nice.
I obviously misread the situation slightly, so we had to compensate. All right, whoever is sick, sorry for that. We'll give you a little $5 for sweets or something. We'll buy you an ice cream in this heat, something like that.
Contrary to my better judgment, I have ordered your food.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna enjoy that so much now.
John, what have you scored Nico for that approach and landing then?
Let's not go. Let's not go there.
Thanks, John. The runway's clean.
Oh yes, and Deborah's not even in sight anymore. I think she got one of these guys in a limo. It was a limo dashing off here at high speed. Mate,
He had to pop that one in, didn't he?
yeah, I think what happened. I know what's happened. She's now waiting for me in the limo. That's the big story. That's the limo. It was actually mine. You'll check now, eh? You'll check.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Yoki.
Listen, mate, I did enjoy that.
Oh, good. Yeah, this is a good laugh.
I just want to know why I missed the hole.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to discuss it offline, Uncle John. Maybe work through it again with you. I don't know. That's a total weirdness thing. I don't know.
You've got a welcoming party anyway. The control tower wants to know what the hell you were playing with.
Ooh, you're naughty.
Could you explain when you would use the go around button?
Yes, when you're still on autopilot and on auto throttle. When you are on an RNAV approach, it will actually do it automatically. You don't even have to press the button. It goes into toga mode once you reach minimums. All right. If you are on automation, you need to press it literally just before minimums. Then it will initiate the toga, go around and take it. But once you've disconnected automation, there's nothing. It will do nothing.
Don't go bumping into me, please.
No, don't worry.
Take that fire gate. I'm on this one.
Okay. You're like a regular traffic cop today, huh?
Just keeping you on trim.
Okay.
I like the angled approaches to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waving at you.
Thank you. I'm mooning you, so check that out.
What a sight! What a sight!
That's why the window's open.
Not a pretty sight.
Well, guys, welcome to Rakopa.
John, you made a big fuss about a go-around, but you didn't comply to the flight plan, eh? So you shouldn't be so eager to shout the odds until you've complied.
Are you coming here this next week as well?
Yes.
I mean, you're not busy somewhere. I mean, you go somewhere else by any chance.
Well, if me and George can have our way, we won't be here next week in the morning. We'll only be back later in the afternoon. But that's a different story, not for now. We don't need you. We're gonna open the doors and get the people out. Oh, lights. No, lights are done.
I've left all mine on board.
Backs.
Waiting for you.
Just want to see why it's not opening. What did I miss? Brakes are set, engines are off. Locked. Why? Oh, taxi light. You idiot. Come on.
Poor guy in the front is blind by now.
Yeah, shame. Ryan, yes, you can join. You know what? I made the same mistake as last night. We don't want the doors open because we want to do a replay. Bruno, there's a certain sequence that you need to switch the aircraft off, otherwise you cannot open the doors. Okay, so all lights, including the beacon light, needs to be off. Right. Once all the lights, including the beacon light, is off, you need to stop the flight leg. This is the sequence, and then it will enable the doors to open. Otherwise, you cannot do it. No, it's not a setting. That's just the way Zibo programmed it. So you need to be parking brake on, engines off, All lights needs to be off except for your nav light. Okay, the nav light, there's a legal requirement for that to be on. So your beacon needs to be off. All of these lights, taxi, turn-off lights, landing lights, they need to be off. And then you need to switch off the flight leg, stop the flight leg, and then it will open.
What have you done? Included the go around as well?
No, he's only doing the correction.
Yeah, I'm doing like from base onwards. So I want to see the maneuvers like this. Zoom in a little bit. Obviously flew like an absolute cowboy. Oh, the replay is not kind to that livery. Damn it. Look at that. Joseph, you're welcome, my friend. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you.
That's horrible.
Oh, it's terrible, terrible. Just the replay. Don't know why it does it. Look at that. Oops. Oh, there's the runway.
Only 21, 22 degrees out.
Yeah.
So was the FMC showing the magenta line direct from the plane to the runway? Or
I'm not
was
sure what it
sent
showed
on?
me there. I have no idea. I'll have to go and reprogram the flight and go see what the hell it showed me there. I just don't know what it showed me. Ugh, Bruno, thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Nico, maybe it's because of the magnification. That's why it was going so funny.
Yeah, I'm not
Not so
sure.
bad anymore.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, the livery looks quite nice now. Just want to take it little way back and take some screenshots. I like this. This really looks nice.
Come on, John, let's have a score.
Negative.
Uncle John bought me a hot dog. It's okay. We'll forgive him this time. He bought my friendship and loyalty with that one, just for a few minutes.
Oh, all right, 9.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Right, I'm going to post a couple of my landings now. Now he's showing his off.
Yeah, please put it in the Zibo pilots group. Let's see what you did and what it looked like. I hope my pictures came out so I can put some in there as well.
Where do you want me to drop them?
Yeah, put them in the Zibo pilots group. Okay. Gentlemen, ladies, if there are any, thank you so much for joining us on the stream this afternoon, late our time, 1700 Zulu. We're going to do a group flight in the USA. Cody and I discussed it. We're going to follow some of the Southwest airline routes. I can't remember exactly the actual route, so don't hold me on it. I'll publish it later. But if you guys want to join us and actually fly with, we're going to do it on VATSIM. You're welcome to fly with us. And obviously you're welcome to join us on Discord, and then we can all have a nice big chat. So you guys are more than welcome. Thank you, Bruno, Bitrip, Ryan, Joseph, Yorkie, Martin, and everybody else whose names I cannot see. It was awesome having you. We'll talk later again. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.